Hi, I'm Justin McClung. I'm the Director of Operational Support Services, and I've been here almost 27 years. I came here 27 years ago as a CAD tech, worked my way up through the directory department, did that for a year or so, and then the internet became what the internet was back in those days with dial-up internet, and grew that department over the about 18 years. And then moved into various, one role called innovation role, and now the role I'm in now. And over that time, I've had 8 different jobs and 7 different supervisors. So it's been quite a run. By moving around different areas and different supervisors and different skill sets, it gave me a broad experience and education to be able to continue to move up in the organization. And to get to the position I am now, and hopefully continue to learn along the way and be better for NEX-TECH.
Cool.
No, I never thought I'd be here this long, honestly. I mean, I got this job. When I got this job, I had 3-month-old twins, and I legitimately chose this company because I needed health care for my kids, and we had phenomenal benefits, and I wanted to be an architect coming out of CAD, engineering school, and right place, right time, dumb luck, call it what you will. I like technology, I figured it out, and like I say, I moved around a lot, and it worked out.
Okay.
NEX-TECH's really good about promoting from within. A lot of times the job openings come open internally first for a couple of weeks before it goes out publicly. So we like the supervisors, managers, everybody involved knows we want to grow people and give them opportunities. And what I've learned over my career, again, lots of jobs, lots of supervisors, is sometimes that is not a straight line from your first job to your last job. You have to move around, change different jobs, learn new skills, and it can be scary, but it's a phenomenal way to grow your career if you're wanting to stay definitely in the same company.
Okay. Did you work anywhere else right out of school?
No.
So this basically, you started here and you've been here?
100%. Worked, obviously, going through high school and Vo-Tech back in those days. Lots of part-time jobs and whatever, but as far as a career is concerned, this is it. NEX-TECH is good for growth because we're constantly evolving, and new technologies, new products, new services are always coming up. So if you have the type of personality that wants to learn and really explore new things, NEX-TECH is a great place to do that because you have so many opportunities. And from a culture perspective, all of our supervisors and managers believe that we want to let people move around. Nobody here wants to pigeonhole people because you have a superstar in a certain spot. Because they can do so much more if they learn a different skill set, and then they can eventually become a leader in the company. So NEX-TECH's really good about that. Absolutely, because just because the opportunity is there, you still have to take that step. You still have to learn that skill or prepare for that opportunity, right? Because with NEX-TECH, we do have a lot of people that have been here a long time. So it's not like certain positions come open every day. So if you have your eye on some bigger job, you have to prepare yourself. You can't just go into it saying, okay, that came open, I'm going to go apply for it and I expect to get it. You have to work for that ahead of time if that's really what your goal is. But so often I think people don't even take that step of trying to go for that job. They assume they can't get it. And that's where I was lucky when I was young, because I had a lot of confidence, and I was young when I was 20 when I was a supervisor. I mean, that's young. And it's because I was cocky and I was confident, and I went and asked when that job came open. I went to leaders in the company and said, I want this job, and I had people that have been here for 20, 30 years, saying, hey, give this kid a shot, right? So you got to want it. It's on you. Because there are so many people that have been here so long, it does say that the company is a great place to work. And like I said before, we're always evolving. So things are constantly changing. And to have people willing to make that change and grow with the company is a good thing. We have a lot of people that could do their job anywhere and have the skill set to do their job anywhere. In today's world, with so much remote work, they could stay where they're at and get a higher paying job, let's say, but they choose to stay here. So I think that says a lot about NEX-TECH. Oh yeah, I'm actually kind of proud, because in my early days when we were hiring like crazy, I mean I was like employee 46 or something, right? So I was there during that whole huge growth. We were just hiring people left and right, and especially back then I was cocky and I was confident, and I went after people like me when I would hire, because so many times you can hire the person that on paper has the skill set but may not have the personality or fit, right? So one of the things I always went for is you have to fit first. And if you're hungry and it looks like you have the ability to learn something, I'd much rather get that fit and that personality and teach them and let them learn whatever it is we need them to learn, rather than going out and trying to find the person with all the credentials and all the skill sets on paper, because they may not fit your culture or what you're trying to accomplish. So I was always more of a personality hiring person, because you can learn anything if you want to. But if you don't have the right fit culturally or personality-wise, you're going to have problems in the future, right? I think some companies do overlook those kinds of people, but I have a really good example in my career where I think 10, 12 years ago, I was looking for, I believe, a wireless technician, and I had a guy interview for that job, and it just wasn't quite right. I mean, he came from Denver, big time IT guy, lots of credentials, lots of knowledge. It was obvious he was very smart. He just wasn't quite a fit. I couldn't figure it out, right? So then we had another job come open, and I interviewed him for that. And I think I ended up interviewing him for 3 different jobs over about a course of a year, until I finally said, there's something about this guy. We just got to get him in here, right? And that guy was Alan Ryder. So I think we hired him for a system administration position back then. And 10, 12, how many years he's been here, he has obviously had the skills and the knowledge. He's now a director in the company. So it was one of those weird situations where it wasn't a right fit for this job, but every time something would come open, I would think of him. And he's obviously a superstar. Everybody knows who he is now, but it's kind of one of those deals. Sometimes just because they've done some big thing, they can still start somewhere else and grow into what you want them to be, or whatever they want to be, right? So I look at Alan as a huge success for this company. Not for me, but it was just getting him in the company and seeing what he can do. I think there's some of that, but there's still, I think most, definitely on the younger side, they want to go to the metro. They just do. But once you start having kids and you want to have a safe place, and definitely technology-wise, we're as good here as anywhere in the world, without question. Definitely internet, home connections, that kind of thing. So we have all of that attractiveness, but at the same time, having good companies like NEX-TECH in small town America, bringing some of that talent back, because we do see people leave and they come back, right? It happens quite often here. And I think it's a testament to NEX-TECH that they get their start here. They want to do something bigger or move to a bigger city, and then they realize, I think it's pretty good back there, and they end up coming back, right? And those stories are just, we can all count those, how many people we know that did that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think some areas are naturally doing that, and one area here is like the help desk. Because a lot of our folks start from going to Fort Hays, going to school, and it's just a part-time gig, and it ends up turning into a full-time job, or they see opportunities elsewhere in the company. So it's kind of a catch-22. You go through all that training of getting that help desker ready, and then they can jump and go do other things. And we just kind of accept that. That's okay, right? It's difficult because you're constantly hiring and training and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're moving some really talented people through the organization very quickly, and you know what you're getting, right? You're not having to go out and try to attract that skill set, which they may not be a culture fit. They may not have all the skills they say they have. Whereas when you can promote from within like that, you know what you're getting. So that's a good thing. it's cliche, but culture is what you do, not what you say, right? And it's the way I look at it is that if people do the right thing when nobody is looking, that means you have a good culture, right? So I think NEX-TECH, again, our evolution over the last 10 years for sure has been dramatic because of the way we're a highly regulated company and the rules change on us on a dime. So that means we have to change, which has put stress on the culture because our benefits have changed over the years, which is a negative to those that have been here a long time. But we all understand you have to evolve, otherwise you die. You're growing or you're dying. That's it. So I think NEX-TECH has a good culture. We're getting better all the time, and we made that shift. I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I'm guessing, where we started to listen from the bottom up instead of top down. We created the Culture Club. We gave them a voice. We gave them autonomy. They can have their meetings. They can do or say whatever they want, and there's no ramifications. And back in those days, we got through a lot of old stuff that just needed to be said and done, right? And now those meetings are much more positive. We've kind of gotten through all that stuff. Back in those days, and still today, we still have groups have their own cultures, subcultures within your departments, right? But they were so dramatically different that there was a feeling of haves and have-nots all over the place. And we're not 100% there, but we're much further along than we were, where now it's a more consistent, fair kind of a thing across all the silos and all the departments. And the employees now have a real voice. If there is a concern, if there's something that needs to be handled or dealt with or discussed, they can do that, and there's no ramification to it. I think because the generation was changing. Again, 15, 20 years ago, we hired a ton of people. So we got a lot of people in my age bracket, right? And now we're starting to get the younger folks coming in, replacing the old guard, and their expectations and their wants and their needs are dramatically different. Back in those days, everybody wanted to work. You just did. You wanted to work 60 hours a week and just work like a dog, and that's the way it was done. And you didn't have work-life balance. There was no such thing, right? Because we didn't know that. And kids coming in the company today, they expect work-life balance, but they also have a different work style. They don't mind. They may want to. We don't do this a lot, but they may want to work, 10 to 7 or something like that. But you know what? They're always available, right? With everything being digital and cloud-based and all that stuff, even if they're not physically where you think they should be, they're still working, and they're more efficient than some of the old guard, right? So it just takes a mindset change. And so years ago when we started really talking about this, it really came down to getting our senior leadership to believe that look, if we are going to evolve as a company and keep moving forward positively, we have to start taking some of this stuff into consideration, and we have to start listening to them and understanding. We may be uncomfortable with it, but it's good. It's okay to take those chances, and definitely, like with what we've all dealt with this year with coronavirus, with remote work, I can tell you there were people that were really worried about that would really kill customer service or the experience or all that kind of stuff. But I was giddy because to me it evolved us probably 5 or 10 years in 3 months because we had to do it so fast. And now everybody realized, 10 months, 12 months, whatever it's been, it's okay. And in some cases we're better, right? So I think it's listening to those people coming in and not discounting their view was critical in those early days of culture, and now going through now, I think everybody's starting to embrace it and going, hey, free flowing, shoot from the hip, that's okay. It's fine. If I had to give it like a 1 to 10, I'd say we're probably a 7, because we still have pockets of people maybe that don't get it, that they're doing it, they're saying it, but they don't believe it, and that just takes time. You're never going to get 100%. You're not. But we're dramatically better than where we were. And again, my main goal in those early days was to give everybody a voice where they don't have to be worried about whether it was reality or whether it was perception of voice. If they had a concern, if they had an idea, give them an outlet. Give them a safe place to have that conversation, and we've definitely done that.
Okay. Do you think some of that is just, like you mentioned, kind of the different generations that we have at the company? Do you think some of that goes back to that?
100%. Because if you, I mean, my first job as a CAD tech, my first boss was Bill Ernst. Older guy, came from the military, engineer by trade, and I seriously probably talked to him once a week. And his office was 10 feet away from mine. It was put your head down, do your job, don't ask questions, don't complain, and go. I was 19. And it's like, okay, that's how you do that, right? It builds really good work ethic, but it's also builds some bad habits too. And then my second boss was Steve Hers, which we all know. And completely different person, right? So in my first 2 years, I got both sides of that coin very quickly, and I learned a lot on both sides of that. There's good and bad to both, right? So you have to take everything with a grain of salt, right? But the old guard doesn't know any different. The new old guard, we know what we know, right? And the younger generation, they know what they know. And you have to have a good mix if you're going to, if your company's going to survive and grow, for sure. So I think a lot of it is self-awareness and being okay with change. You know, some people are really good with it, and some people are terrible with it. But for any company to grow, you have to be willing to change.
How hard was that? You know, you were very involved with that whole process. But, you're talking older generations and the higher ups, mm-hmm. and, manager positions and all that. How hard was that to tell them, hey, this is something that we really need to look at to make things better in culture? For obviously going back to my cocky and confident side, for me it wasn't that difficult. But I can see where it is for others, right? Because I really don't have a problem challenging or questioning things, but when you're going through that kind of a process, it isn't just about saying it. It's about selling it and believing in it and trying to get them to believe in it. And we were fortunate because it was kind of at the end of Larry Severe's tenure, and when we started getting this going, and he was open. It was great. I think everybody, it might have been perfect timing actually, because you knew he was leaving, so the whole dynamic of the company was going to shift. When the CEO changes, everything changes. So I think it was perfect timing where everybody's kind of like, all right, let's see where this goes, right? And we had an HR manager at the time who believed in it and didn't fight it at all. She helped all along the way. We really didn't have a whole lot of friction. And then when Jimmy came in, he just kind of waited around and watched that the initial to see what is this about, and then he 100%, he's on board. He wants to do anything to help the employees that's going to help the customers, and so again, kind of going back, right place, right time, dumb luck, call it what you will, but it wasn't too much of a struggle getting the highest leadership to believe in what we wanted to do. I think you'll get all over the board, as with anything. I think the ones who truly believe in what we're trying to accomplish will say it's probably a 9. And then you'll get some that have struggled with the benefit changes, right? And haven't accepted that yet. I think they're the ones that are going to be in the 5s, right? But I think I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that most people are in that 8 to 9 range with most of people, and then some that are significantly lower. But in my position, you don't hear all the truth. So I'm going by what I hope, right? Because when we do our annual culture surveys, you get some people who have no problem telling you how it is, good or bad. But then most people are in that middle ground of just saying yes, no, not really expanding on the concept. And I hold hope that most people see what we've done and where we're going as a positive. But again, I don't know for sure. Well, you got to be careful with that, right?
we want to have a place where people can have their ideas heard or their thoughts heard, but that just because you have an idea doesn't mean it's a good idea, right? So you don't want to just dump on them and tell them it's a terrible idea. You got to try to come up with a nice way to explain to them why that product, that service, or whatever that is, isn't a fit for us, right? And I think most people probably, after they think it through and hear your side of it, they'll understand and they're okay with it. Some people won't because they think it's the best idea ever thought of. But it goes back to number one on our culture statement: communication, right? And it's kind of funny. Forever since I've been here, we said we're a communications company. We don't communicate. And even though it is still our number one thing on our list, we still have days where we don't communicate. So to me, it's about effort. We have to keep trying to communicate, and hopefully people get it. But there's two sides of that coin as well. You can communicate all you want, but if they're not listening, they're not going to hear it. And we see that a lot, because we do see certain situations where the same topic comes up over and over and over and over again, and as a team, you've dealt with it, you've explained it, you've ad nauseum, gone over it, but they keep asking the same question: why can't we do this, or why can't we do that? And it's like, you got to start listening a little bit better, right? Because we've already done that. And eventually you do get a little frustrated going, okay, we're done, right? But for the most part, you just try to have an open mind and let people know why it is a good idea or a bad idea, or why we can or can't, or that kind of thing. Absolutely. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be here still. So good opportunities, still benefit-wise, even though they've changed over the years, they're still better than most companies around us. And again, opportunities to grow however you want to grow. 2020 is a great example why NEX-TECH is a great place to work, because we all have friends and family that were negatively impacted due to various shutdowns for whatever reason, whatever their industry is or wherever they lived. And NEX-TECH quickly pivoted and evolved and moved people to work from home, or allowed people to do things that typically you wouldn't do as an organization, so that we didn't have to, furlough or lay anybody off or those kinds of things. So I think we were all very fortunate to work at NEX-TECH during this period, because I had two family members in my own immediate family who were off work for 6 to 8 weeks, and they had no control. So that's a testament to NEX-TECH, to not have to take those steps when we easily could have. I feel very fortunate to work here for that. No, never. I mean, I always had hopes, right? Because I try to be more progressive on that side. But no, and what's exciting is not only did we pivoted and we allowed the people to do that, we changed our brain and said, we're going to let that happen permanently. I mean, for certain groups where you're hitting your numbers, you're able to do your job effectively, we've basically made the decision that if you can do that, we're okay with that. And it's not like, well, everybody's got a vaccine and we don't need to anymore, you're coming back to the office. It's like, hey, if you're more efficient there and you're happier there and you're getting your job done, good. And that's fantastic.
How's that work so far?
I mean, for my group, we've had most of the help desk working from home the whole time, and it's the numbers really haven't been affected. We've had a couple of our managers who worked from home, and one is still working from home. It's been great. All of our developers immediately went home, and you wouldn't even know it. You wouldn't know it. Culture is more important than skill, because if you don't believe in what your company is doing and where you're going, it's the old bad apple spoils the bunch thing, right? You can have a fantastic team, and then you bring in somebody who's a superstar technically for whatever that job is, but because they just are a cancer, they'll ruin your entire team, and then you're going to start seeing people jump ship, right? Because they just don't want to deal with it. So to me, personality, culture, attitude, all those things far outweigh skill set. Far outweigh skill set. So, and we do a good job of that here as well. We want to make sure we do not bring cancers into the organization, even if they are a superstar. It's not worth it. If you don't believe in what we're trying to accomplish, I don't care how good you are, you shouldn't be here. There's plenty of opportunities elsewhere. Go take one of those jobs but we want good people who want to be here. Is NEX-TECH an innovative company? I hope so. I think we are. Again, we are, because of our core service of voice, video, and internet, that doesn't really change a lot, right? On the TSG side, or the technology services side, we're always trying to bring in new products or services. So I think we are innovative, but it's not as fast as I'd like to see, but at the same time, we have so much going on. It's hard to just do moonshots and take that time and effort to do something completely crazy. But we do. I mean, we have the BHAG process that we allow anybody to throw out an idea. It's not like we've had tremendous success with that. We haven't kicked off a great product here or there, but we're definitely trying to be more innovative all the time. And we're always, I guess it's not sexy, but from an innovation standpoint, we're always looking at our processes and getting more efficient and cutting waste and that kind of thing. I see that as innovation, because then that allows us to scale without adding too many more staff, which then our costs go way high. To our customers, it means better products, better customer support, dealing with a local company, right? So when you call for support, you get a person. You don't get an IVR or go through the button pushes and all that kind of stuff. So it gives them a good quality product they can't even get in the city, in most cities, right? And to our employees, I think it gives them a place they can be proud of, right? Because even though our core product is changing dramatically because of the world, right? Nobody's talking on phones anymore. Nobody's watching, I shouldn't say nobody, but television, cord cutting's like crazy. But even with that, we're still a great place to work. We still have this whole other side of the business where we're growing. And I think people can be proud of where they work and what they do to make, at the end of it, to make the customers' lives better, right? That's our ultimate goal, is to take care of our customers. And I think we do that better than any company I know. I think they like us. I do, because again, most people know us because of our internet service, right? That's the one service you're not going to disconnect, right? And we have phenomenal internet service. It just flat works. It's fast. There's no real glitches. We rarely have any big outages of any kind. So we're very reliable. And again, if you do ever have problems, our help desk constantly gets praise for how well they take care of the customer. And we do live in in our area, we have an older demographic, and they need a little more hand-holding than the kids do, for sure. So they appreciate that care that the help desk does provide for them. So I think customers who have our services love our services. Oh, yeah. I mean, back then there was the internet. There wasn't no such thing as the internet, right? We weren't a cable provider then. We were a phone company, and we did a directory. That was about it. And now you look at everything that we do. It's hard to believe, but it goes by fast as well. But I'm excited for what the future holds, because we have part ownership of NEX-TECH Wireless. We're expanding to Salina, Great Bend. We're looking at other things, and there's a ton of opportunity out there. And I just want to have a good, fun place to work where we bring in, keep and bring in talented folks, so that when I'm done and I retire, I can feel good that it's still a great place to work. It's crazy. I mean, back in those days, especially when we started the internet, I was the first internet employee. So I was the help desk guy, the web developer guy. We wrote some database stuff. I mean, it's insane how things have changed. Now we have people we have teams of people doing these things and doing them at an incredibly high level compared to, anyway, like I say, some of our skill sets that we have here, they're as good as anywhere in the world, in my opinion. And they could go wherever they wanted to.
Yeah.
They choose to stay here.
They choose to stay here. I don't even, if it's a good enough idea, and the business model makes enough sense, we have a a senior leadership team and definitely a board that is willing to do anything. If it makes financial sense and we can help our customers, they'll sign off on any idea. There's no, I don't think there are limitations other than does it make sense? Absolutely, because so many companies I think get stuck because their leadership gets blinders on and tunnel vision, right? Well, we're a telephone company, we can't do that. And I to my entire career, we've never had anybody in senior management or board that has ever that's really ever been like that. They're always looking for new opportunity, and they're very supportive, and they're willing to take risks too. I mean, we've made acquisitions over the years that after a couple of years didn't make sense, so we pivot, move on, try something new. So I think that is a testament to our senior leadership and our board to say, hey, you got to take shots if you want to really move. So, and we do that.